This is Join Us in France, episode 563, 563. Bonjour, I'm Annie Sargent, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we take a conversational journey through the beauty, culture, and flavors of France. Today, I bring you the Bootcamp report with Janet Boyd, Beth Hall, Mary Piltch, and Jeanne Powanda. And they share their experiences at Bootcamp 2025. We chat about what it's like hanging out with a group of fellow Francophiles, the visits we enjoyed, French classes at LangueOnze in Toulouse. I mean, the whole thing, the whole experience. I've also launched the sales page for Bootcamp 2026, and I've received 4 reservations already. That was fast. Patrons get first dibs. Then in a few days, I'll send an email to all the people who subscribe to my newsletter, and I'll share the URL of the sales page here on the podcast next week. But just to put a bug in your ear, it'll be early October 2026. Maybe you can join us in France for real in 2026? This podcast is fueled by Chocolatine coffee and the generosity of listeners like you. You book itinerary consults, take my voice map tours, join the bootcamp, hop in my electric car for a day trip, or chip in on Patreon. And I am so grateful for that. Want to keep me going and skip the ads? There's a link for that in the show notes as well. You'll find all of my tours and services at joinusinfrance.com/boutique. And merci beaucoup. For the magazine part of the podcast, after my chat with boot campers, I'll update you on the strike and blockages situation today, actually, September 2025, and problems with over-tourism in Montmartre. Did you know that this podcast gets transcribed and spell-checked? French spelling can be a bit mysterious, but you'll find the show notes, including links to the transcripts, at joinusinfrance.com/episodes. It's mighty helpful when searching the website for gold as well. You pan the website for gold, I guess. And if you remember what episode number you want to check out, you can always type joinusinfrance.com/ and the number of the episode. So in this case, today would be 563, the numeral. And that episode will pop up. And in my weekly newsletter, I send you a summary of the conversation with all the places we mentioned and all the useful links. So I do recommend that you subscribe to the newsletter at joinusinfrance.com/newsletter because it is the best way to stay in the loop. Bonjour, Janet Boyd. Welcome to Join Us in France.
Bonjour, Annie. I'm happy to join.
Lovely to see you. We haven't seen each other for a few months now. So I want to talk to you about your bootcamp experience. It's August by the time we record this. So you've had time to think about it and reflect upon it. So I'd love to hear how it went for you.
Well, it was everything I'd hoped for. I'm not a group traveler typically, but I said, oh my gosh, these are going to be my people. They're Francophiles. They want to travel. It always felt like a small group, even though we were like 30 to 35. It never felt that way. I mean, we needed a proper bus for certain things. My husband feels like he now knows some of the people because you'd wind up going into smaller groups and I'd be like, oh, the group where we had the retired pediatrician, or that group who, blah, blah, blah. As we took the tours and the different, after the language classes, which they were very accommodating to us, knowing that we were there for the week and also the students. When we went into the class, a lot of students had been there for months, but going to Albi and Carcassonne, and I knew at some point that it was going to blur after, like which city, which was which, because there's so many gorgeous places. And so I don't remember specifically unless I look at my pictures, but I do remember Elyse's descriptions. It was just so much richer with Elyse telling us, like, if I go just, oh yeah, here's a nice castle, but I have a real sense of the history. And it wasn't facts and figures, not at all. One of the things I remember, it was a place that we went to that had it was not a catapult. What's the other catapult?
Oh, that was Foix. That was the defensive in Foix. So that was in the Ariège area.
So she said to us, I said, I want you to look. Here we have a round tower, right, which is built, in whatever century. And on the other side, we have a square tower. And I want you to know that the difference between the two is that the round ones were built after the invention of the cannonballs because they deflect cannonballs. And, it was a fun fact that you walk away going, I never would have thought of that.
Right.
I never would have noticed that. And it's really it's interesting. And there were so many things that, and she was just fabulous in making an art.
Oh, she has a knack for bringing it all together, like in a way that honestly, I can't do that. I would like to. I try to learn from her, but she just has a knack. Because sometimes people have challenged her on specific dates and things, and she will get a detail here and there wrong. That's fine. But the overall image that she builds is just extraordinary. So, yeah, I just think she gives a fantastic tour, whether it's the boot camp or outside of the boot camp. She does, she's a great tour guide.
And with no notes. She does it with no notes.
That's right.
I'm like, how does she do that? Yeah. And her excitement is kind of infectious because when they were doing excavation, then they found another piece of a Roman wall. And it's just, a piece of a construction site. And we walked over there and she was telling us all about this.
Yeah. She's so excited about these things. And, I've known about these places forever. And I kind of tried to talk her out of taking us there. She was like, there's not that much to see. And she's like, well, this is really important. This is really important. Okay. So, yeah, the whole thing about the like-minded people is also a big one.
We realized we were a self-selecting group in the end, and that just made for lots of friendships and fun conversations, which is one of the things you hope for. And you called it a boot camp, and it was just in terms like falling into bed every night and going to sleep and being glad I didn't have any homework for the school. But the morning when I got up, I was so energized, and for the variety of things that we did. Just breaking it up. So there are people who didn't do the class, of course, and they found all kinds of things to do.
Oh, sure.
The trip took place during my work year, so I couldn't extend, on either end. I couldn't take that much time away because United States, But my plan is to go back and spend more time. I would go back, and I know one of the boot campers is going back to Toulouse for a month in October.
Yes. Oh, Toulouse is fabulous. We're very lucky because it's still low-key enough, but there's so much you can do. Even if you don't go to the morning language classes, which I think people who want to learn the language they should avail themselves of that because it's really a good way to cram in, quickly. What level were you at?
I was A2, which was good for getting kick-started again. And I've continued the French with italki since I've been back. And now I'm B1. Finally.
It takes a long time to learn a language. But really, it's always a privilege to see how close people get to one another because a lot of people come without their significant other, Yeah. And so you come by yourself. You're like, oh, am I going to be lonely? Am I going to be bored? Am I going to find people to hang out with after the visits are done or after the classes are done? I don't think anybody had any problems with that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And we have every time we have some really nice, really classy people. Like, two of the people who were at the boot camp own private planes.
Oh, really?
Really? I was surprised. I was like, wow.
And one owned a vineyard?
Yes, that's right. One owned the vineyard. You're an academic. I can't remember what you do.
I'm a dean at a college.
There you go. A lot of really interesting people to talk to. We've had an opera singer. We've had an eye doctor. We had a pilot. We have really, really interesting people, a bit of all ages as well, which is kind of refreshing to have a bit of everything.
It skewed more, I think it was more people my age. I'll just say I'm in my 50s, my later 50s. But that was also interesting because it was all over the United States and we had Australia and the UK too.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of solo travelers, who, whether they were paired up at home or not, all who had the same loves and interests. And the variety of the trips, I think it was paced well in terms of we didn't go to like a medieval town 3 days in a row. We went to a vineyard one day and then we went, it was broken up in ways.
We mix it up. Did you have a favorite? Did something stand out in your mind?
Now, I do remember someone counting, I guess it was Foix, walking up the cobblestones. The hill was 28 flights, equivalent of 28 flights. We all felt very accomplished. But maybe it was also there. Is that where we had the storm, the thunderstorm?
Ah, no, that was Bruniquel where we had the thunderstorm.
Okay. And
Bruniquel is interesting because it has two chateaux. It has a new chateau and an old chateau. And the new one, of course, is, 800 years old.
I think that's the one with the two different towers.
Okay, that's the one, Bruniquel. Yes, yes. A lot of people really like Bruniquel. It was our first time going there. I think we'll have to go back because it's really scenic and it was really atmospheric because we had the storm.
Yeah, that was fun. And for the people on the podcast, it was beautiful when we got there. A squall came in about 20 minutes, and we're all standing in the castle. And all of a sudden, the lights go out, and everyone was, woo! But it was funny because you don't realize how dark a castle really is until the lights go out. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You don't realize that now we understand better that they lived with the sun. The people in the Middle Ages had to live with the sun. Otherwise, it was too dark to do anything, the rest of the time. And even on an overcast day, like a winter's day or something where it's overcast and you don't get a lot of light in the room, there's a lot of things you cannot do because no light.
Yeah.
So it's fun. And it's the mix of just language and culture and a lot of these people, a lot of these tours, they just say context, we give it context, whatever. Of course, that's what we do. We both Elyse and I live in France. I'm French born and raised in my case. And so we want people to come and enjoy the south of France. And especially having people not all go to the same places. That's a biggie for me. Like, go spread it around a bit. Go see the rest of France. It's lovely.
Yeah, these were places I would love to see, but I don't know that I would have done it on my own.
Yeah.
So that was another big plus for me.
Yeah, you couldn't get to most of these places without a vehicle. You have to have a car, and not everybody is happy driving in France. Although driving in France is statistically a lot safer than driving in the US.
I live in New Jersey, so if you can drive in New Jersey, you can drive anywhere.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Janet, thank you so much for talking to me.
Oh, thank you. Any hints about the next boot camp?
Well, yes, we are going to do this in October next time because May, it's too many days off. It's really hard to find a time that works for everybody. And April, it's a bit too rainy still. So we thought, we hesitated. By the time you listen to this interview, I'll announce the dates and all of that. But I think it's going to be October.
Not 2025, 2026. Okay.
Oh, no, we just do this once a year. And Elyse has told me again, this might be her last one, but she said that last time.
Right.
We'll see. Hopefully she'll feel good enough to continue because she's a trooper. It's hard work, so. Thank you very much, Janet. It's lovely seeing you again.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next one. Take care.
Au revoir. Bonjour, Beth Hall. How are you?
I'm good. Bonjour, Annie.
Welcome to Join Us in France. So you were one of the boot campers for this May 2025. And we want to hear about your experience, why you came, where you're from, how it was, everything.
My name is Beth Hall. I am from Kentucky. I was the only person from Kentucky. I think there was another person from the Midwest, but was able to meet people from all over the world, Australia, England. It was wonderful getting to meet the different people, a lot of like-minded people that love to travel and love France. I was able to get away because I have a little bit of a flexible schedule. My husband was very, very jealous that he had to stay behind and work, but he gets to come in September when we come back. So we get to go do some of the same things we did on my trip because I loved them so much.
So, yeah, that's right, because we were just chatting a while back about you redoing part of this trip and showing your husband, right?
Yes, yes. I was very surprised by how lively Toulouse was. It was a wonderful place in France that some of the books don't even include anything about Toulouse. And it just was wonderful. Lots of interesting things in terms of architecture. And again, the city was just very lively. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. aspect.
I mean, we have a lot of students in Toulouse, so of course it's lively and people like to go out. People in Toulouse, I mean, just ask Elyse. She will just get on the metro and go into downtown Toulouse just to be in downtown Toulouse because she likes hanging out there.
But, yeah, just people out and about, and I can't think of in the United States where you really have that as much as I saw in Toulouse.
Yeah, yeah. Well, wonderful. Did you do also the language classes?
I did not. I am at the very beginning of trying to learn French. I felt it might be a little overwhelming to come. I had some family issues with my dad, so it wasn't until last minute that I made the decision that I could truly come because of his health. So I just felt like wanted that free time to explore on my own. And I think I would like to do that on the next one. I'd like to come back to the boot camp and try the language class this time.
Yeah, no, they're really fun, but it's true that you don't have to take them. It's just optional. And the good thing about not taking them is that you have every morning to yourself. Well, every weekday morning to yourself. The weekend mornings are, well, the whole day, we do. This year we started on a Saturday and we ended a Sunday a week later. I don't think we're going to do that again. Honestly, I think we'll be doing Saturday to Saturday going forward because it was long. It felt, especially for Elyse and I, every day you have to be on. And for you guys too. I mean, it's a very packed in. Even if you don't do the language classes, did you ever feel bored?
Oh, no, no. The first Monday, I had come from Paris, so I kind of took it easy that Monday morning and just relaxed. But no, I found plenty to do out and about. Yeah, there's a lot to do in Toulouse.
Yeah. So, Beth, you don't come across as the most outgoing person in the group. There are some people that were like super talkative and all that. You're a bit more reserved, aren't you?
Sometimes I like more one-on-one than a big group situation.
Yeah.
So that's probably it more than being shy. I feel like I'm not shy. I'm just, I don't, when it's a group, sometimes I kind of step back and just kind of observe.
Yes, yes, yes. And so did you make connections? Did you make friends that you're still in touch with at this point?
I did. I am been bad about staying on the WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp that continues. And I had a lot to come back to. So I've been pretty
Right.
busy. But no, I intend to keep in contact with a
Keep
lot
in
of.
contact with people. What sort of work do you do?
I stayed home with my kids.
Oh,
So
but that keeps you very busy.
yeah, and right now, I'm helping with my father and to find out what was going on with him. But
and he's hanging in, isn't he?
yeah, he's still hanging in there.
That's good. Good for him. I'm sure your help is invaluable at this point. So tell me about some of the attractions we went to that you are most interested in, the ones that you want to go back to.
I loved Albi. We plan to go back to the church. Actually, with you, I think we're doing a day trip to go there. I ended up with a stomach bug one day, so I didn't get to see Pech Merle or was it Cord? Yeah,
It was Saint-Cirq-Lapopie, Pech
so I didn't
Merle,
get to,
and also on that day we stopped in Rodez.
so I didn't get to do that. So I plan to do those
Not
things.
Rodez, not
I
Rodez. Sorry.
can't work.
Brain fart. Anyway, there's three things we visited that day, and I can't remember the third one.
I really enjoyed Elise's different tours that she did. She's like a walking encyclopedia with so much information and so knowledgeable. The bus trips were fun, even the singing, even though I don't like to sing.
So yes, yeah, some groups, I always test this. Some groups love to sing. This one this year, they were like, not so into it. So we'll see. But I'll keep trying it because some groups really get into it. So.
No, that was kind of fun.
So yes, that day that we go to Pech Merle and Saint-Cirq-Lapopie, we also go to Cahors. We just go to the bridge because we don't really have time for much else. But so you missed that day, okay?
Yeah.
Because you were sick. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I wish I could have gone, but
Yeah.
I really love Bruniquel.
Oh, Bruniquel. Yes, yes.
The medieval town, the architecture, just so quaint and beautiful. I wish I could live there.
It's
That's
very
gonna
hilly.
happen.
You get legs of steel, woman.
Yeah, but no, it's just breathtakingly beautiful. You just stand there and look and think, do places like this really exist?
Uh.
They do. So
Yes. And that day we ran into a pretty big storm. It was crazy. Like all of a sudden it just started thundering and lightning. And were you in the chateau when we lost the power?
Yes, I didn't take my rain gear because it didn't say it was gonna rain, and then all of a sudden you saw these black clouds coming, and then didn't the power go out for a short time too in
It
the
did, it
chateau?
did. I was in the chateau. A lot of us were in the chateau, and all of a sudden, boom, the lightning hit a substation. So it took a good long time for the power to come back, but it did eventually come back. But it made it very atmospheric. We were in this medieval chateau, very medieval chateau with no power, and like, ooh.
Carcassonne was another place that I really, really enjoyed, and my husband and I are gonna go back along with a cousin to Carcassonne.
How did you like the food in Toulouse?
I went out a few times with the group. It was good. I'm not a big foodie.
Uh
I did a lot of sandwiches, ham sandwiches,
huh.
a lot of pastries in the morning, the chocolat croissants, pain chocolat, I
Au
believe.
chocolat, yes, or chocolatine, as we say in the Southwest.
No, I wasn't as I guess I didn't explore as much with the food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not super food motivated.
No, but people were really nice about including me because I was by myself. So several times people had asked me to come to dinner, and sometimes I was just kind of worn out and chose to go back to the room. But that was really nice being by myself. That was one of the things I was a little nervous about coming. I remember sending a message, "Hey, will there be other people that are going to be solo?" There were a lot of people that were solo, and they were very kind to include me. Just
Yeah.
got met a lot of wonderful people on the trip.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about being in a group is that you can travel solo to places that you probably wouldn't by yourself, or maybe you would. But in this case, you might feel a bit intimidated to come to a place like this by yourself. But then you have a group, and you had us leading the way and showing everybody around.
It
Yes,
was
it
a
makes it easier.
lot of learning curves along the way. We've traveled my husband and I have traveled quite a bit, but he usually navigates. So I've had to do all the trains, buses, airplanes, all of that by myself. I almost ended up going the wrong direction on the train. I figured it out last minute because when the platform on the screen, it told me to go to the specific platform, and I got there and got on the train, and my seat assignment wasn't anywhere to be found. So luckily, I figured out that I was on the wrong train, but I hadn't seen that where there's 2 trains on the same platform going in 2 different directions.
Yeah, they might have different platform numbers, but I would think
You know, the
so.
other train was literally on the other.
Just
My husband would have made the same mistake too, but I figured it out, ended up on the right train. So, yeah,
yeah.
lots of learning curves, but I'm so glad I did it on my own.
Why do you want to come back to the boot camp? I mean, I'm glad, but why?
I had so much fun. I really enjoyed it. You picked out fabulous things to do, and I getting to meet the different people from all over was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And a lot of
Yeah.
people that love to travel, again, love France and getting to talk to them and eh, hearing, travel ideas or places they've been, that kind of thing. So
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I think I need to get some other people on, but it's going to be a delight to see you again this October. You're coming back
next
in
September, yes.
September,
Yeah,
sorry. I have other
yeah.
bookings in October, but yeah, so September, and it would be wonderful to meet your husband and your cousin, and we'll have a good time, and then perhaps you'll come back to the boot camp next year. That's wonderful.
If the timing works out, I definitely plan to come.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Beth.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bonjour, Mary Piltch. Welcome to Join Us in France.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Annie.
Wonderful to see you again. You were at the boot camp, and I want to hear what your experience was like. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what decided you to come to the boot camp.
Okay, great. Well, I've been listening to Joyce in France since the pandemic, actually, and I've continued to listen to it. I listened to all the old episodes, that you recorded before there. It's so interesting, and your guests are great, and you and Elyse do such a nice job together. I live in Cape Cod in Massachusetts. I'm retired. I'm a grandmother, and I have 3 kids who live in the Boston area too. So that's pretty much me.
Right, right. And I remember you were a little bit hesitant. You were like, oh, I'm coming by myself. Is this going to be a problem? I don't think it ended up being a problem at all, did it?
No, I don't know. I travel by myself. I've done it many times. And I also, do a group tour where I'm alone. So that's usually not a problem. And I was able to meet a couple of other gals from Massachusetts, and we met together. I went with one of them on Cape Cod, and we had coffee at a French cafe, which was on the Cape, which was nice. So I knew, having that Zoom call ahead of time was really good because you could find out if other people are around you and meet them on Zoom. So that was very helpful.
Yes, yes, yes. So what did you enjoy about the boot camp? Did you do the language classes as well?
I did do the language class. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we started everything off great because the gals from Massachusetts got together with you the day before and did a great trip to, I don't remember the name of the area.
Yeah, we did a day trip. I can't remember. I remember some of it. It was all the Tarn-et-Garonne.
There we go. Yes, yes. I can't get enough of cute French town. So it was lovely. We had a great lunch. We found a nice place that we all enjoyed. So that was a great way to start it off. And I was very impressed by Toulouse. I did not expect it to be such a vibrant, thriving, historical city, not knowing that it was the fourth largest in France. Is that correct?
Yes, we're etching to third largest now, but
Wow. Oh, okay. And when I arrived, I was so impressed with how many young people there were. I didn't realize it was a university town. So that was off to a good start. It was a great group of people. Again, like I said, having the Zoom was very helpful. I did take the French language class. I have to say, I did play hooky a couple of days because there was just other things I wanted to do and see in Toulouse. I was thinking, oh, I'll do enough with the day trips that we do in the afternoon, but there was really so much more to see. So, and my French is so poor anyway that, 5 days of French isn't going to help mine at all. So I made the right decision.
yes, yes, yes. Well, it is true that there's a lot to do in Toulouse, and the boot camp is. I mean, we call it a boot camp because we try to do a lot, and you just get the half a day on your own during the boot camp, which for some people is not enough.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So one of the things I did on my own was to go to the Museum of the Resistance, which was very good. And subsequently, Elyse was kind enough to give us a little talk about the resistance, which was very helpful because I personally didn't know that much about it. And I've watched a couple of documentaries that she suggested and read more about it. So that, to me, that was very interesting. I'm interested in the history. I also do a lot of long distance walks with friends usually, but we've walked part of the Camino de Santiago and part of the Via Francigena in Italy. And I was very interested to find that part of the Camino goes through Toulouse.
Yeah.
So I went back to what's the church, the cathedral there in Toulouse.
And the cathedral is Saint Etienne, and the basilica is Saint Sernin.
Okay, it was the basilica then.
It's a basilica, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And, learned more about that. And I took, on one of my hooky days, I took Elise's audio guide and walked around. And even though she had taken us before and, we had seen a lot of Toulouse, there were things that I had noticed before, had learned so much more. And that was great. You and Elise just do such a fabulous job of keeping everybody in line, as well as so many interesting things about history and culture and people and food. It's really a great combination. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we have a good time as well because we get to meet new people and it's always just, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, I'm glad it's fun for you too, as well.
Well, it's a big responsibility because I do feel like I'm in charge of a large group and I'm always on the lookout for things that might go possibly wrong. But so far, we've been lucky. We've had really, I should relax a little bit, is the reality.
No, I'm the same way. You have to have like a plan B ready just in case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have a favorite excursion or two, perhaps, that we did?
Well, as I said, I can't get enough of the little French towns. And I'm sorry, I should have looked this up before. I don't remember the names of some of the places. But on Sunday, we went to that other cathedral.
On Sunday, we went to Albi.
Albi, yes, that was it. Yeah. So I loved Albi. That is really a highlight, I think. The only drawback was that it rained quite a bit on that day. And we also went to the Toulouse-Lautrec Museum.
Okay, okay. It rained on that day? I don't remember the rain. Maybe it did.
Yeah, it was rainy.
Okay. It happens.
And the only other thing is because it's Sunday, a lot of things aren't open. So it was very quiet in Albi, probably a combination of the rain and it being Sunday.
That's true.
And I guess one suggestion maybe you could do the caves on a Sunday and do Albi on a weekday, but that's just a suggestion.
That's a great suggestion. We'll see if we can do that. The thing is, Albi takes a full day because Elyse really gives a great tour of the museum, the Toulouse-Lautrec Museum, and the cathedral and the basilica. And so we need time. But yes, that's an excellent suggestion that we will take into account.
And of course, Carcassonne is beautiful. And I actually had been there before. And it rained when I was in Carcassonne before, but it was beautiful when we went. So I think, oh, I'll go back again because it was raining. It was really windy and raining when I went. And so we didn't really do that much. But again, Elyse did amazing history information about the church that's there, which of course I don't remember the name of.
Saint-Nazaire.
Yes, and I had seen it before and thought it was, amazing, but knowing all this information is just it really adds so much to the trip.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any tips for anybody who's considering doing this? Things that you want to tell them about to prepare?
Well, definitely do it. I really enjoyed it. You really have to fly to Toulouse, I think. I had gone to Avignon from Charles de Gaulle, and that's very easy to take by the train, but Toulouse is not as easy. So I would say to take a flight and I don't know, just be ready for different experiences that you may not be aware of. And you meet some great people, and you guys really set it up for success, having the WhatsApp and having Zoom calls before. It's more than just going on a trip with people you don't know. You kind of know them ahead of time, and you all have the same objectives and love of France. So it's a great trip to go on.
Yep, yep. All right. Thank you very much, Mary. You're wonderful to talk to. It was a delight having you on the boot camp.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Who knows? You might come back to Toulouse one of these days.
Yes, I might, but I may not take the French language course, but that's just me. But I know a lot of people loved it, especially the ones who were better French speakers.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the school. It's just that, yeah, I think if you come with some French under your belt, it makes it more challenging. If it's just learning the very basics, maybe in any language, a week isn't going to make any miracles. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
It takes longer than that. So
The people who were, fairly fluent in French, I think they really got a lot out of it because they were able to converse with other people in French, which you don't always have the opportunity here in the United States, especially, native French speakers. So I think for that level, it's really a good course.
where were you staying? Was it a hotel or an Airbnb?
No, I stayed at a hotel. I can't remember. I should have researched this, like I said. I stayed, in that there's a circle and there's a fountain in the middle. It's right down the street from where we got the bus.
Okay, so probably Place Wilson? The big, was it the Novotel?
Yes, it was. Yes, yeah, that's it.
Okay, Novotel on Place Wilson. Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
You know what? My room, it was not loud at all. I must have faced inward instead of outward because when I got there, I thought, oh my gosh, it might be really noisy, but it wasn't. The hotel wasn't too lively. It didn't have a great restaurant, but of course, everything's right around there. And I was so close to the big square and everything. So it was a convenient location. I know the other gals from the Cape stayed at an Airbnb that they found noisy. The air conditioning wasn't working that well. So you never know, but I was very happy with where I stayed.
Did you like the food in the area? Did you have a favorite?
I have to say, I'm not a big foodie, and I've had the cassoulet, and I'm just not a big fan of cassoulet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't say anything that really stuck out, but the food is lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't go hungry.
No, definitely not. No, no.
How about the wine? You came to the wine tasting with us?
That was a highlight too. What a lovely couple, and what a lovely spot. They did an amazing job. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I love a wine tasting. In fact, I went with two of the other boot camp participants, and we did a little wine tasting on our own with a guide. I think there were 6 people in total. And we went to the one that has all the wines that you pour from the little spout in the machine, and you put your card in.
Le Cinq, perhaps?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Number 5?
Yeah, Le Cinq. That was cool to see that. That was fun. I know some other people wanted to go back, but I think it was closed that day or something. Yeah.
All right, we got to keep it short, but wonderful to see you again. Wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Okay. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you. You too.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bonjour, Jeanne Powanda. Welcome to Join Us in France.
Bonjour, Annie. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. So we want to talk about your time at the Bootcamp 2025. Have you recovered?
I have recovered, and my bank account's recovered, thank goodness.
Yeah, it takes a little bit for that too. Did you do just the Bootcamp or also the language classes?
I also did language class.
All right. And what level of French were you at?
They put me in A1, I believe.
Okay. So you're starting out.
I had some French in high school and a little bit in college. I think I was put in a class that was a little too easy,
Uh-huh.
and the teacher acknowledged that. But, it's only 5 days, a couple hours. It was okay.
Yeah.
Would I do it again? No,
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do the language class again.
I would not. A conversational French class would have been, I think, more helpful.
So this was kind of more like you spent time doing grammar and things?
We were doing the alphabet, and then we did countries, and then we did numbers, and
Ah, too simple.
too simple.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know because there are people who might want to. Because, I mean, the language classes are completely separate. You don't have to do the language classes. I think the people who are more advanced find them very useful. But perhaps for a beginner, it's not as good.
Yeah. The good part was my class began at 8:45 a.m., and so I had to get moving.
Yes, yes.
I couldn't lounge in bed. I had to get up.
There's no lounging.
So that was a good thing.
It is a boot camp. So, besides that, how was the boot camp experience? Did you make some good friends? Did you see some cool stuff?
I loved it. It was an experience for me because I was alone. My husband didn't want to go, and so I learned a lot about myself and what I can do, and now I can do anything. I'm brave.
It empowered you, I guess.
It empowered me. There you go. It empowered me. That part of it was the best part for just personally for me, and meeting you and Elyse was a highlight. I love Toulouse, and this was my 4th trip to France, and I'm really happy that I got to see that part of France. I've been to Paris, I've been to the Normandy, Loire, Alsace, I've been to Nice, and so I hadn't been to the Southwest, and so now I've kind of covered everything.
A lot of places, yeah. I mean, the Atlantic, perhaps, the Atlantic coast, the central parts of France. You have a few things you haven't seen, but
A few, but it was good to kind of cover most areas.
yes, yes. Anything surprised you about Toulouse or the places we went?
I was surprised by how flat Toulouse was. Very, 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 very walkable. When I got there, I bought a Metro pass for 10 rides, and I only used 5 because everything was so walkable.
Yeah.
I didn't really need the Metro pass. I actually it was a paper pass, so I don't think they do that now. They already eliminated paper passes, and I gave it to a young woman, college students or whatever.
That's nice.
I was surprised to lose. I think I was mostly surprised by there's all the stores and the shops and how high end everything was. Very high end, no cheap t-shirt shops. At jewelry stores, there was a Hermes watch that was over 10,000 euros.
Yeah, that's high end, all right.
That surprised me.
Mm.
But I did find my Oil store to buy a few things that I need.
That's right. There's the 2 euros, Magasin 2 euros, yeah. Of the places we visited, did you have a favorite?
Yes. My favorite was Bruniquel. I just loved the ruins. The view was, over the river was breathtaking. I loved the fact that it was kind of funny, the old castle, the new castle, when the new castle's still, 600 years old instead of 900 years old.
Yeah.
I just love walking through all of that, the town, walking through that beautiful town and the steep alleyways and the flowers. That was the favorite of mine. Everybody liked Carcassonne. Carcassonne's very, very nice, but it's so touristy. Bruniquel just felt like a place I could just stay for a day and relax. And
That's true. That's true.
I did like that the best. Every place Foix was wonderful. Everything was wonderful. I loved it all.
Yeah, yeah. I think Albi is also magnificent.
Albi, yes, yes.
Yeah. Did you skip any days on account of being unwell or something?
Yes, I missed the caves.
Ah, Pech Merle.
Yeah. I don't know, I don't know, I just woke up, I don't know if I had, like, a little bug. There were a couple of people on the bus that, nobody was really sick, but a little unwell.
It is a boot camp. I mean, every day like that, it adds up. I think next year we're probably going to do just 7 days instead of 9 because it is kind of taxing and we can probably fit in almost as much in if we reorganize and rearrange a little bit, is what I'm thinking. But honestly, you're the second person I've talked to that missed Pech Merle a day because of not feeling well. It happens.
Yeah, it may be an exhaustion. I couldn't put my finger on how I felt. I just didn't wanna really get out of bed.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, if you were going to give advice to people considering going to the boot camp next one of these years, what would you tell them? How would you help them prepare?
I think I was fairly prepared. Google Maps, I did a lot of research. And like when I was going to my residence, I had an apartment. I already knew what to look for. When I got out of the metro, I knew which way to turn, left or right, or where to go.
Where did you stay?
I stayed at Tour Croix Baignon,
Okay.
and it was such a great location. I was 2 blocks from the Écureuil A and Carme metro
Yeah.
and a block from LangueOnze. It's a quiet, safe area. I was a block from Rue de Metz and a block from Alsace-Lorraine, so I could get anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great location. That's definitely a great location.
I had a 2-story apartment that I could have lived in. I just loved it. I loved
And you found this, was it one that was recommended on my website or?
It was not. It was not. I found Booking.com, and then the owners actually reached out to me
Oh,
and said, "Hey, why don't you just book directly through us?" And I said, "Oh, okay, I can do that."
how did they know that you were interested?
I guess through Booking.com because I had some questions, and I guess I just went to them, and then they reached out to me, and that was perfectly fine. They were wonderful hosts, and there was a lot of steps. It was 36 steps to my place, but I have a big old house, and it's already 18 just to get upstairs, so
So you're used to it. Yeah.
steps don't bother me.
Yeah.
But I loved the apartment. It was quiet. I loved it.
All right. Maybe you should send me the address and the contact for this person, and I can recommend it for somebody who wants to stay there next time.
I can do that. I can do that.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to discuss, about the boot camp that you.
I had a lot of time on my own because I got there on Tuesday and then stayed afterwards until Thursday. There was a lot of things that we didn't do as the group that I got to see. And things that I would recommend to people that have time would definitely be a canal ride.
Yeah.
It's not exciting, but it's just so pretty that time of year. I went to the Resistance Museum.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
I went to the Hotel des Isat.
Yes, exactly. That's a beautiful one. I assume you went into the Bomberg Foundation.
Yes, that's what I mean, yeah. For me, the highlight was the Escher exhibit down at what was that called? The old town.
Le Bazacle.
I was an Escher fan since I was a teenager, so that was a highlight for me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I saw that one too. I liked it. It was very good.
I loved it. I loved it. I had a massage,
Oh, wow.
and then I went to Saint-Raymond, Musée Saint-Raymond, which I loved. I love that.
It's a very good one.
There's just so much, and you see so much as it is with the group, and then all these.
There's more. Oh, yeah. We definitely don't do everything you can do. There's a lot more that you could do in Toulouse.
There is, and the library was beautiful, and I got to meet people from, Australia and New Zealand and Hawaii.
Have you stayed in touch with any of them?
Actually, not really, not really. Well, so many of them were going off to other European locales, I was back to the States, but many of them were headed off to various ports of call.
Yeah, different places. Yeah.
Right.
Did you like the fact that we used WhatsApp to communicate? Was that handy dandy, or you would rather not?
It was perfect, and we could privately connect with each other if we had to. I took a wine tour and met Jessica Hammer, who I believe you guys know.
Yeah.
And so I'm from Pittsburgh. She is a big Sidney Crosby fan who's a Pittsburgh Penguin. And I had some Pittsburgh Penguin hats with me that I brought over, and I gave her some hats, and she was so happy.
That's great. That's great. All right, Jeanne, thank you so much we need to keep it short because we have other people who are going to be on this episode, but thank you so much, Jeanne. It was wonderful having you on the boot camp, and it's lovely to see you again, and I hope you come back to France at some point.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Elyse, and I'll just keep on listening.
Awesome. Merci, au revoir.
Thank you.
Again, I want to thank my patrons for giving back and supporting the show. Patrons get several exclusive rewards. For doing that, you can see them at patreon.com/join us. A special shout out this week to my new Join Us in France champions, Teresa Watkins, and Carol F., with whom I've exchanged many lovely messages already. I love talking to my patrons. Would you join them too? You can do it for as little as $3 a month, but if you can afford it, I would love to have you pledge more so you can have access to more of the rewards. Go to patreon.com/join us. That's Patreon, join us, no spaces or dashes. And to support Elyse, go to patreon.com/Elyse Art, ELYSART. And thank you, David Griffin, for your one-time donation using any green button on joinusinfrance.com that says tip your guide. Somebody left this review of my Ile de la Cité voice map tour this week. This person wrote, very informative tour, lots of interesting insights, easy to follow. Well, that's what I like to hear. That was short and sweet, but those short and sweet reviews also help. Podcast listeners get a big discount for buying these voice map tours from my website. It's best for me as well because I get to keep more of what you pay instead of giving it to Apple or Google. So go to joinusinfrance.com/boutique to get your own codes. If you're planning a trip to France, your vacation is precious and you do not want to waste time chasing bad tips or outdated information. That's where my itinerary consults come in. You can run your ideas by me. I'll help steer you in the right direction so you spend less time researching, worrying, and more time just enjoying the thought of your trip to France. Again, to book this service, you go to joinusinfrance.com/boutique. I want to update you on the political situation in France. Today was the Blocon 2 day. They've been talking about this for a month. And yes, they did block a few places and they're all over Instagram. But I swear to God, they blocked maybe a fraction of a % of important infrastructure. So it was a bit of a dud. And I suppose it might, I don't know. You never know. Are they going to keep this up or not? When it's a real strike, like if it's an official strike from the train people or teachers or whatever, they don't get paid while they're on strike. And so they tend to be a little bit careful with how much time off they take for striking. The people who participate in these blockages and things like that, they have less to lose usually. And so it might go on for a while. With the Gilets jaunes, the yellow jackets several years back, it had all started with a sudden, well, to them, increase in the price of taxes that we pay on gasoline. And it really upset a lot of people. I don't like taxes any more than anybody else, but I think we should be using less gasoline because it is destroying our planet. So to me, the only way to really incentivize people to use less gasoline is to make it more expensive. And so I didn't get behind that particular movement. But on this one today, not that I'm ever going to go block anything, but I do understand that people are upset because the French government has a lot of debt. They've been spending like drunken sailors since the pandemic. Emmanuel Macron is not the only president who took the country in that direction, but he's definitely made it worse. He hasn't had a majority in the parliament, and ours is a parliamentarian system. So if the president doesn't have the parliament, well, his prime minister can't get anything passed. And the latest prime minister has fallen. He didn't get the votes he needed to pass his budget. So we have a new guy. I can't even remember his name. He was the Minister of Defense, and he's well liked and whatever, but he's a right winger. And so my fear is that he's going to do like the previous ones. He's going to say, well, we can save money by not reimbursing this in the, national healthcare thing. We can cut off this program, give less money to the handicapped or whatever. I'm not sure what all they're planning, but I think they're looking for money in the wrong place. French people are very, very price sensitive, and they are going to put up a fight. And the money really lies with a few thousand very rich people in France, just like everywhere else these days. And I think they need to go find the money where it is and not where it is not. But that's just me. I've never voted left-wing in France, but I might have to do that because they're just annoying me. Why do they keep hitting the people who can least afford it? They need to find a way to tax the super wealthy. And we do have a lot of super wealthy in France. I'm not saying tax the dentist who spends 12 hours with his hands in people's mouths. I mean, he's earned it, right? But just the people who invest in the private equity crap and all that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a political scientist and this is not a political podcast, but I think there are reasons for people to get excited over these things. But we have a new prime minister already. Hopefully, this person will be able to pass a budget that won't annoy people so much. Might get a little bit reasonable. And then we'll see. We'll see where we go from there. But it wasn't as bad as I had feared. Let's talk about the Montmartre and the growing tensions between residents and tourism. I've mentioned this in previous episodes as well. But this time it's about the buses, because every day dozens of large tour buses roll into Montmartre. They often park illegally, double parking, blocking crosswalks, or stopping in areas where they're not supposed to. For the people who live there, it's become a real problem. One resident, Julie Ménard, who has lived in the neighborhood for 10 years, has launched a petition back in 2023, and she calls it an invasion. She's not just talking about inconvenience, but about what she sees as both visual pollution and air pollution. And she has a point. Paris welcomed more than 36 million visitors in 2024, bouncing back to pre-pandemic levels. And that's a lot of people. It's hotspots like Montmartre, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées feel the pressure most. The deputy mayor in charge of tourism, Frédéric Aucard, says the city needs to regulate tourism in order to limit the negative effects. In his words, we need to stabilize the number of tourists. The buses are at the heart of the issue here. Between 500 and 600 tour buses, coaches, enter Paris every day, and 95% of them still run on diesel. That's a lot of exhaust. And, in an already congested neighborhood, the city is considering cutting back access to tour buses in central Paris for a long-term solution. And they could make people just park outside, take the RER, But not everyone agrees, of course. Tour guides argue that buses are the most practical option for groups. And it's true that big buses, if you work it out, it's less gas consumption per head than an individual car. Public transportation is difficult with a large number of people, so I understand this. And the bus industry, they point out that coaches are essential for international tourism and that the big problem is the lack of designated parking. Well, where are you going to put it in Montmartre? I don't know. The drivers feel stuck. Some say they have no choice but park illegally and drop people off, even if it means risking a €135 fine. But the city says they won't turn a blind eye to those practices and are preparing stricter measures. This is not a brand new debate. When Paris introduced its lowest traffic zone in the city center in 2024, tour buses were almost banned outright from certain districts, and they were given a reprieve. But the question is still on the table. How do you strike a balance between welcoming millions of visitors and preserving the quality of life for the people who actually live in these neighborhoods? The conversation is ongoing, and Montmartre, with its steep streets and postcard views, has become the front line in this clash between mass tourism and local life. Now, I use tour buses for the Bootcamp. Sometimes you have to. But we stay well away from Paris with the Bootcamp. And as a matter of fact, guiding in Paris would be actually much easier for me than guiding in Toulouse, because I don't guide in Toulouse that much. Elyse takes all these jobs. I mean, I do a little bit, but really not very much. I take people outside of Toulouse on day trips. But really, nobody needs me to bring more buses to Paris. If I ever did a boot camp in Paris, we would use public transportation. And as far as I see it, the solution to over-tourism is to spread people around. There are so many great places to enjoy in France. I encourage you to get out and enjoy it all, not just Paris, Normandy and Provence, right? Many more places that we explore here on this podcast every week. That's it. The rant is over. My thanks to podcast editor Anne and Christian Codovan who produced the transcripts and the audio. Next week on the podcast, an episode with Elyse Rivin of Toulouse Guided Walks about the town of Saint-Lizier in the Ariège department. Saint what, you say? Saint-Lizier. And that's exactly my point. This is one of these hidden gems that you need to hear about, so perhaps you consider not spending all your time in France in Montmartre, but rather go down to the foothills of the Pyrenees where it is beautiful. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you join me next time so we can look around France together. Au revoir. The Join Us in France Travel Podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2025 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.